Greetings and welcome back to SmartWatchTix.com. Recently, we reviewed a beautiful Android smartwatch from VALDUS called the VG52 Pro. Got a great detailed review on that one. Today, we are picking up their newest version, the VG54, which you will hear again and again in the video. Is basically identical to the 52 Pro in terms of how it works inside, the operating system, everything except the case. And look how the case is different. There's a little side camera here, and there's a camera right there that pulls out. We are going to show you that right now as we unbox this puppy. We've got our cards. We'll look at those. We've got our watch. We've got more in here, but before you go, where's the camera? I'm pulling it out right there so you can see it. Now, where can you get this? And we're going to go into detail on this one. You can come over directly to the VALDUS shop. They've got their own special store. Pick this puppy up. It comes in a 2 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte configuration. Now, you can also pick this up directly from AliExpress. They've got it available in their VALDUS official store in two different configurations, the 2 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, same as what they have in their own store is available. It's only in black in terms of color. But for a few dollars more, about $70 versus $75, around $5 more, I highly recommend you upgrade to the 3 gigabyte RAM with 32 gigabyte storage in here. There's something special when you go to 3 gigabytes of RAM operating memory, for the use of the thing that just makes it so much smoother and less prone to crashes. So for $5, I would go at that price level to the higher configuration. And of course, check the show notes for discount coupons. We often have those to include if you use the links we provide for you, either directly to the VALDUS store or to AliExpress. In terms of its features, everything it does, again, it's saying it's a 4G watch, more like a phone, which means it uses a SIM card for making calling, independent phone number, everything. It's not Bluetooth calling like many watches where you have to drag your phone along with you. Main features, phone, settings, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all these different things. It's got the Google suite of software in there, especially the Google Play Store, so you can download apps at your leisure. You got calendars and address books, photo albums, all the typical stuff. Google Maps is in there, voice recorder, one-click drainage, it says, blood oxygen, on and on and on. Life waterproof, 1.43 inch, 466 by 466. Exact same screen as the VG52 Pro. A hefty 750 milliamp hour battery. The two different configurations now. The one that's in the listing is the 2+16. Android 8.1, all of the stuff that comes in the box. And these are the things people like about it. The HD camera, Wi-Fi connection. That means you can literally, don't even have to have a SIM. You can do Wi-Fi calling and stuff like that if you want to. GPS is built into it. And of course, you can download and install apps from the Google Play Store or do something called side loading. Now, in this video, we're going to go into really deep detail on master configuration. This puppy is loaded up to the max. The VG52 Pro, again, you'll see the basic review of this one, all the stuff that comes right out of the box. But this one, Uncle Tix has taken it to a whole new level. What you're about to see is fully loaded up, and I've got resources in the show notes for apps that you can download and side load into this particular watch if you want to configure your watch to look like mine is. All right, so what else have we got in the box? The card has a warranty card in here with information about how to apply for a refund or whatever, or fixing it if it's broken. Shouldn't be. And we've got a little smartwatch user's manual, shows the picture on the front. There are the identification of the components in the device. It uses a charging dock. You'll see that in a second. The button functionality is in here. There's some precautions. Be careful when you pull this thing out and rotate it, right? It's like an old regular wind-up watch, how you pull it out and turn it. SIM card is on the side, touchscreen functionality. Some of the things that you can do are down here, and common questions appear on the back. And then on this side, we're in Chinese. So, deeper in the box, you get the complimentary VALDUS bag. Have you got a collection of these going? They're really, really fun. Inside the bag, then, is the charging dock. And it's a basic little 2-pin connecting dock. It lines up with the pins in one specific order. By the way, it's with the wire coming off the side of the camera, makes it kind of easy. USB connection. Now, there's a film that comes with it, and there's a covering on the back. In the review you're going to see, I've left those on, and at the very end of the video, I pull them off. But you're seeing this beginning part after the end, so this is what it'll look like when you've removed all of the stuff from it. You've got a little microphone here, the SIM card you can pull out with a tool right there. You've got this button, twirly knobs, the camera, you saw all of that, removable straps. I think we should get going, right? Here we go. Now, a difference today is this is not stock. This is. So I want to show you both of them. Just booting up. By stock, I mean out of the box. This one, I really haven't modified, done anything with it other than basically turned it on, set it up on the internet, and gave you a review of it. This one, and now notice how bright these screens are booting up. The background's completely dimmed down by the camera. This one was like this one, but I have tweaked it quite a bit. And that's what I'm going to show you is the tweaked version as opposed to the standard version, just to give you an overall comparison by bringing this one up as well. If you like this one with its side camera, that's great. If you prefer this one with the pull-out camera we're about to look at, it's a bit upscale, in my opinion, compared to the VG52 Pro. This has already landed on its opening page. This is taking longer. Why? Because it's filled with a bunch of stuff. See the dot going on there? That is actually floating toucher. Yep, it's been installed in this one. It's coming up to its opening face in just a second. It might actually be opening into an always-on face instead. It does not support the twist your wrist to see the time. At this point, that's turned off. It's on this one, but I can double tap it. Once we get it up, there we go. When it times out, I can double tap it to turn it on because it's using the always on display. This is set for a 15-second timeout. We're going to let that ride. There it goes. And when it bleeps out, it immediately switches into this always on display, which is configurable in colors and fonts and everything. Shows you the time, the power level down at the bottom if you want to, and the floating toucher dot. You don't have that on this one, but you certainly can add it to either of these because they're full Android watches. These were downloaded from the Google Play Store. And in the show notes, I'm going to have a link to a special package where a lot of these apps that I'm using here, I've got them archived for you. So if you want to download them, unzip them, and side load them, they called, install them, you can do that. Because some of them, like Floating Toucher, aren't available in the Google Play Store anymore at all. So here we go. Going to run through this one quickly in an overview sense and then go deeper. Double tap, like I said, can bring it back up into the opening watch face. You got tons of them. Here's a classic stock face. I keep trying to twist this, but it is not a knob. It is a pull-out camera. When I twist this, I can go in and show you several different watch faces. These are all stock faces, digital, analog, active buttons on these if you want to. Really nice edge-to-edge screen, very vivid, always on display, AMOLED display. This is one of the downloaded faces with animation in it as well. This next series are all downloaded from the app store that they provide you. Or I mean the face store. I know you want to see features, but I want to show you faces, so I win. Here we go, an interesting, nice digital one. and on and on and on. This is a great subdued one that matches really well with the look of this particular watch, in my opinion. You got power levels and all kinds of things on here. Here's the one we just saw over on the other watch, also from the store. All right, we'll end on this one for this first round of looking at watches, because this is Year of the Snake, guys, in China. Coming up 2025, and there's a representation of it. Now again, the double tap is a feature that's added through the always on display app. It's not stock, but cover the screen to close the watch is stock, and it'll do that. So if you want to have it on a long timeout and just cover the watch, double tap to get into it, twist your wrist to see the time if you have that activated, or leave that off and see it in an always on display mode like this, you can. Always on just timed itself out and reinitiated itself as well. There's a lot of special configurations you got to do in the settings to make all these things happen. But once you've tweaked it, it's really, really cool. Now, when we touch the floating toucher button right here, we can bring up a circle that shows you all different controls, even over the always on display mode. It's activated, but it's leaving that mode running to give you longer battery life. These are basic controls on the outside that come stock with that app, and I've got a full review on how to use floating toucher. We're not going to go into detail here, but I do want to point out I got a couple of folders. This folder shows you a lot more things, like toggling on and off Wi-Fi, or your sound, airplane mode, brightness level controls, including auto brightness, is available through here. And this one is a folder that I've just put some fun apps that I've added in here. We're going to look at those. The top ones have to do with the camera module. You're not stuck with using the camera app that comes with it. Lots of freedom there. And the bottom ones are all fun radios and music players like Django and TuneIn Radio and so forth that you can stream out of the watch or through Bluetooth headphones. And if you have a SIM card installed in it, so you're streaming it into your watch, you don't need to have your phone with you at all. And you can listen to podcasts or anything you'd like to. Lots and lots of fun stuff you can do there. Let's bail out of this by going home. That takes us back to the opening watch face and showing you again these overall controls. First of all, you see it's set for two apps being permanently turned on and running in the background. They do not time out when you turn the watch off or when the screen goes dark. And that's the always on display, which it's going into again right here, and the floating toucher button. Optional, you can add those if you want. Don't need to if you don't want to, but it is feasible. When you slide down a second time, we get the brightness control. You've seen that on the other review, which is really slick that it's here now. You don't have to install the app's display brightness. For those of you who've been around a long time, that's a thing I put in, and I have a little slider here on the side. Well, you can get to it as easy as sliding down twice, so we don't need that anymore. Also, I want to show you that when I come over here to the volume, I can tap this, and now I've got a slider for my volume control too. And you can set everything up in your system configurations for sound, muting everything, ringtones, all of that stuff, simply available by going over here and tapping on the volume control. Other than that, we've seen all of these before. There's our data activated with the SIM card, T-Mobile SIM in here. Phone calling data is working on this watch. Airplane mode, all these other things we've seen. This stretch and this switch are interesting. We'll get back to those and cover them again. And one-click drainage, you tap on that and start it. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's playing a really deep, like a didgeridoo sound that's shaking any water out of the speaker that might be there if you have stuck it underwater. I guess that means it's a waterproof watch, huh? Jury's out on that. They call it life waterproof. We're not quite sure if that really means waterproof or what. But hey, if you're shaking water out of the speaker, they put it in there for something. Here's step count, calories burned, distance traveled for the day on this screen. That's all you see. Come over again. You've got your heart rate. You saw the diodes flashing right there. Continuous heart rate, incremental heart rate. It'll give you a reading right there, your high, your low, and so forth. Very basic health features on this watch. One more and you're coming into blood oxygen. It only does it when you land on it, but it is using the red and green diodes for calculating a more accurate blood oxygen reading. Usually your range is from about 95 to 100, somewhere in there, and it shows you your high and your low. And when it actually gets its final reading, and you come out of it and you come back in, there you go. You'll see I had one there and I had one there, and now it's going to show you, in a sense, a continuous chart of incremental readings that you've done. And finally, you could come in here and turn all that off if you want to, which is motion, heart rate, and blood oxygen. You have a music player in here as well. It's to the left of the dial. So if we come back out of here, come back out of here to the watch face and slide this way, now you've got music. You can tap that. You can play whatever you've got going on in here. There's some music. You hear that? And of course, change tracks, change the volume simply by swiping down, coming over and modifying it right there. Very, very easy. Nice stuff. That is a quick run through of the operation of the watch, going across and back, as well as coming down to look at all of your controls, and then finally going up. Doesn't do anything, which begs the possibility of putting in one of those apps that will do something when you swipe. They have an app, I don't have it installed. You swipe up, you can do something. You swipe up to the right, you can do something different. Swipe to the left, do something different still. So if you want to launch apps without using floating toucher, but use the ingenuity of the swiping control on an Android watch, you have that flexibility as well. Now you saw when I pushed this button, I got all of my apps in the app drawer here, and I'm just going to page through them. These are all stock, and again, we've covered them in the review of the VG52 Pro, pretty much in detail. So I'm just going to go over them so you see them here. They're the same configuration, order, and everything, until you get down to the new apps that I've installed here. File Explorers, where you can see all of the different apps that you've got in there, pictures, music, you name it. You've got the Play Store, YouTube. It has Facebook, Instagram, TikTok installed. Now, Google Drive. This is my own personal Google Drive. I've got it installed and linked so I can drag and drop things from my computer or my phone into the Google Drive and retrieve them directly from here. Here's the app backup and restore. This is how I'm able to extract the installed apps that I've put on here and make them, the APK files that you can use to install. And that's what I'm going to archive and put in my Google Drive on Smartwatch Ticks that you'll have access to with a link in the show notes to download all the apps you see on here that have been pulled off using app backup and restore. These are the two main ones, always on display and floating toucher I told you about, but check it out. I got a frequency generator in here, GPS testing, koi, free, magic, all kinds of things. VLC is another player, weather, Yahoo Weather, which is great for watches, a touchless heart rate monitor that uses the camera. Google Lens uses the camera. We'll play with that. Some speed tests, news. Labyrinth is a game. USB debugging. The guys at Full Android Watch know all about that. Good stuff that they can do with that one. A replacement breathing app that's really nice called Breathing Zone for inhaling and exhaling. Pocket, if you haven't used that, it's really great. You see something you like to keep, you can keep it in Keep Notes. Articles and things you can put in Pocket, even have it play it back and listen to it, the articles that you're reading. More fun, visual type stuff. And then LunaQuest, which is sort of a thing that shows you the condition of the moon right now, its rise time and set time and stuff like that. Okay, that's kind of the first round of everything here to give you a sense of some of the things that you can do when you really start to configure the watch. For those of you got to leave, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it if you subscribe and like these videos. And definitely come on back. For those of you who've got time to stick around, I'm going to take a quick break and we'll go deeper. You ready? Here we go. Now, as you guys know, I don't like doing ads on this channel. I want to keep it moving, keep it going. We're going to do that, but I got to tell you about an invitation, which is kind of an ad. I'm part of the Amazon affiliate program. Anytime you buy a watch through my links, I get a little commission from that. Well, Amazon has just launched something called Amazon Haul. Here's a QR code that's tied in with my affiliate program. If you link through that through your phone, you can head over and pick up stuff for as cheap as $10 to $20. Everything there is really inexpensive. It's a beta launch they've just announced, and I'm one of the lucky affiliates that gets to try it out. So you guys get a chance to jump in and see how it works. I'm putting it on the screen if you want to read it, if you got the time. Otherwise, just consider clicking on the QR code and checking it out for yourself. Welcome back. Let's go way deep now. First of all, a big shout out to especially Pablo 11 and Dr. Andy Vishnu and his sidekick Pierce. Hi, Pierce, at fullandroidwatch.org. We are very, very lucky and very fortunate that these guys are around because they have helped out so much in developing and honing all aspects of Android smartwatches. That's why it's called fullandroidwatch.org. I want to talk about these two settings here, which I got insight from these guys about, and my own explorations, which we're going to talk about right now. First, I want to take you back over into the settings, into that Moon app that we were looking at. Notice how everything's cut out. It's way too big. You can't see what's going on in the corners. You can't even read the title because it's set to be scaled for the full screen. So this is a good one to demo this on. I come over here and I have this switch that looks like a circle. I can change it to 1:0, come back out of here, and look, we've got exactly the same app now in a tiny little square, and it's scrollable and you can read everything. That particular setting allows you to change from circle to square. Now you can see the menu items in the upper corner that you couldn't see before, but there's more. Come down, go over there one more time, and tap it again. And now you're in a sweet spot. It's a 1-to-1 switch. What does that mean? You still have a square, but the square is overlapping a little bit on the edges. You still can read the title. You still can see and touch the menu items, but everything is just a little bit bigger, easier to read, square overlapping the circle. And of course, touching the circle or the switch again will switch you back to full screen. Now, what about this switch here? This is pointed outward, which means expanded. Let's take a look at that same app, see if it'll work. You can read everything, except it's kind of off the screen, right? And take note of the font size and whatnot. Let's come back in here now, and let's go over here and change it to zoom. And we come back into the app. Now it has to literally relaunch the app. And there, look, it's much, much tinier. Everything is much smaller and harder to read overall. Yeah. Now, come back in again. Let's expand it out to stretch. Come out of here, launch it again. And it's bigger. So within the app, stretch and zoom change the dynamic of the font size from within the app. And that also applies when you have it in these other configurations as well. I like to be in stretched here and in the 1:1 ratio here, because most of the time that really works well for me. Unless I'm going to be doing one of these fancy graphic types of apps, which I'll show you a couple of those, which I wanted in full circle for that. Let's get back out of here. I want to show you this Visualizator 5000 in particular because it's really fun. I've pre-selected a whole bunch of different visualizations and they'll change every 20 seconds and I can say visualize right there. Now those were off the screen, but I know where they are. So I've got it set for full circle. And as you can see, here's a display, one of the many different visuals here. And if I take floating toucher button off, you know, you won't have that on there either, the dot. And it I don't know if you notice it, but it seems to be bouncing to the sound of my voice, and it is. Here's another one. You see it's changing when it's picking up sound from the microphone. It'll bounce to music. It'll pick up traffic as you're driving down the road. Or, of course, Mr. Tick's pontificating on and on about nothing in particular, but everything in general, and it'll continue just bouncing. We're going to show you one more. There must be, I don't know, a dozen, 2 dozen of them in here. Here's an interesting one. It almost looks like a city landscape, but it's actually like a graphic recorder. There, see when I get quiet, it goes away? Now, wearing this on your arm and just walking around with this on and running and people looking at it and noticing it's changing with the sound in the room, that could be quite an interesting experience, right? Visualizator 5000. I'm not sure if it's in the Google Play Store anymore, but check the show notes for the little archive zip that I'm going to have of all these APKs, and you'll be able to download it from there. Okay, let's bail out of this one. Quit, yes. And Project M. Here's another interesting one. This comes in, and it shows you a bunch of different graphics that are going off here. Also responding to my voice. And you can mess around with it and do different things as well with it. Lots of configurations on all of these. They'll crossfade and go into different types of graphics. And they're Android apps. You can do these on your phone too. And they look so sweet on a watch, don't they? Look at that. You guys that are really into techie stuff, I'll get around to that here coming up. And we are going to play with the camera. But I just wanted to have fun with some graphics for you to begin with. Project M, that's another fun one. And one more, Plasma Sound. Come on in here, you guys. This actually turns it landscape, which doesn't much matter. Not now for donating to it. This is actually going to make some woo-woo sounds like a tremolo. I feel so sorry for you guys that were born after the age of tremolo, when this was a new musical instrument that was the rage back in the days of the Ventures, stuff like that. I tell you, being born into the world of an iPhone, an iPad, and constant social media, it's got to be so sad. Your youth was wasted or lost. All right, anyway, more we'll play with later. Let's get into the camera itself. I'm going to show you first operating in the stock configuration by going into settings, coming down to display, coming down here to camera, and turning on this little switch that will cause it to launch the stock camera app when you pull the camera out. Okay, we're back at the main page. Now, with this on your arm, you want instant camera, you just simply pull it. Launches the camera, it's pointed straight ahead for a vertical view of the proper surroundings. And there's the door and the sofa and stuff like that. You can see all of that, right? We can do a video recording or a still recording by tapping to take a picture. You see right there. And you can change the camera around, supposedly, like this to flip it upside down. Why would you do that? Because as soon as you rotate it and you look at it, it'll have to be switched around so that you're right side up for doing your video log and stuff like that, right? Now you can continue. No, you can't. You can't. You can go straight up or you can go straight down like that. You have a full 180 degree pointed from down to straight up and straight forward as well. And again, you can switch the camera around and now it's actually backwards. Okay, so that's the stock app. It's pretty simple. And as soon as you push it back in again, you level it to where it's even right here. You push it in and it turns it off. Sweet, easy, Don't have to do anything more than that, unless you want to do some other things with other camera apps. And if you're familiar with what you've done on your phone with camera apps, if you're creative and whatnot, there's a lot of different things you can try. But in order to take advantage of that, you have to turn that off. Otherwise, every time you pull it out, it's automatically going to launch the camera app. Now when I pull it out, nothing happens. So I could go into my apps, or I can go here into my floating toucher, and I can come into here. That's the stock camera app there. No, that one's the stock camera app. This is called Free Camera. And there you go. There's the view outside the door. And notice over here, there's a little slider. Now it's in the full screen mode, so we've got a little problem on being able to access everything. But you still can, and I can zoom considerably deep into here, and I can make a video recording with a zoom lever capability. And if I make this into the 1:1 configuration, then you don't have to worry about it being off the screen. I can stop that, and I can play it back. Notice that the dot moved down here too because everything's switched. We're going to have to come out of here and go over here and make that 1:1 in order to see. Okay, we were in there. Come back here, and here, and there. Different ways of getting into it. There, now you see we got much more control over it with the slider and everything. And I believe down here, I can go back in and we can play it back. There's the playback. Now I'm not hearing any sound, but it's also turned it around this way. But you can see the visual with the zoom capability of that particular camera app is in here as well. And by the way, Free Camera is the app I'm recording with this on my phone camera and have been for 9 years now in Smartwatch Ticks. So it's a really nice camera app that you can use on a phone or on your smartwatch. I'm noticing some of you are falling asleep. You might want a cup of coffee. When I was out shopping at thrift stores, I found this really, really fun cup. I thought, whoa, I love this. This is going to be my favorite coffee cup. I sure wish I could get more of them. How do you find out where you can get more? With your handy little phone watch, right? You can come now into the camera apps, and you can launch Google Lens right here. Are you ready? What this says, of course, is bring up your camera within Google Lens, and I can simply turn my lens down. There's the coffee cup. Let's get it so you can see it and take a picture of it. Looking for and gathering the results. And here we go. I mean, I got my SIM card in here. I'm tied in with Google. I got all these different shopping options. And by golly, if it isn't exactly the same cup. So I can order a whole set of these if I want to. Google Lens, as most of you probably know, if you don't, it's something you really should install on your phone too. It's as simple as pointing your camera at anything and then letting it take a picture, and it'll tell you what that is, whether it's an archaeological site, a piece of clothing you're interested in, or whatever. So we've done cameras, we've done some visuals, now we've also got all kinds of sound apps. Now, of course, you can install anything you like. Spotify, I've got Django in here. TuneIn Radio is a really fun one because you can play and stream all kinds of radio stations all across the planet, including in your locale. And Repladio Radio, I believe is what it's called. This is one of my favorites, and one of my fun channels that I like to stream in the car is Ambient Chill Out. Just to give you a sample. There you go. And again, you can adjust the volume. I showed you how to do that, swiping down, going over, little slider control. Just have all kinds of fun with it. Just change channels anytime you want to, just by tapping, and it'll go to the next random one. Anyway, Lots of fun, lots of other capabilities with the audio. You got the visual, the audio, you got all of that. Now let's go deeper into configurations. Here, switch to another watch face. This one's great. Look at the resolution of the screen, the fine detail in the lines, and the edge-to-edge capability, as well as screen animation. Really nice, these AMOLED watches. We're going into settings. Our intent is to make sure we work with apps that we want to run in the background so they won't be disabled. It's really getting tricky these days. We're going to go all the way down to apps and notifications. Here are some of the apps that we've most recently used, and all of them are listed if you scroll through it. I'm going into Floating Toucher, for example. I'm going down into Battery, and in the Battery section, you can come down and see how it's been used, and under Manage Battery Usage, you may find something that says Background Activity. App can run in the background when not in use. You want to make sure that's turned on. Now, that's not in all of the apps. It's in some of them, and especially if it's in the one that you want to run in the background. Now, always on AMOLED. I want that to run in the background as well. But check it out. When I get into Battery and I scroll all the way down, I don't have that entry there. So it's being handled differently in another section, which we're headed to right now. So this is in the apps, okay? Now, you keep on going down to more. Actually, I'm going to take you into acceleration mode first. This is probably the most important and the best one. You want to turn acceleration on. And what that will do, it will optimize your device performance and shut down any background processes. Well, you don't want to shut down those background processes, right? And so you put them on a whitelist. As you can see, if I scroll down here, I was trying free camera to see if it would actually still record in the background by disabling all of that. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So I can turn that back off again now. All of these ones that are turned off will shut down. If you want TuneIn Radio or any of the other music radios or apps to be playing while you have the screen off, for example, you'll want to put them on the whitelist for acceleration. We definitely have Floating Toucher turned on, and when you go all the way down there, I've also got the Always On turned on in the acceleration mode. And then finally, you're going all the way down. Oh, by the way, in the power savings mode, you want that turned off. Unless you're really trying to save power, but if you want to keep your background apps running, you want that turned off. And then finally, you're going into more settings, battery, and here's where you get some really good juicy stuff. You come down, it's showing you all these different things. Battery saver, you want it to be in the smart savings mode, not low power or ultra savings modes. That will shut more things down. For your choose the battery saver, we just did that. For your low power saver, save power when low battery. This you can turn on if you want to set a threshold so your watch won't just like drain out to zero. If you're trying to get it to last all day, if it hits 30% power or something, you want to turn that on so it will still survive and measure your heart rate, things like that. You could turn that on if you want to. If you don't care and want to let it go all the way, then just leave that off. And then you could schedule power savings by turning the watch off and on. Here is the big one, App Standby Optimizer. You come in here, you get all of your apps again. I'm going into Always On. Here I want to close app optimization. For any app that you want to continue to run in the background, do not let it be optimized by the system. Then this other one, standby wake up optimization. All of these you have choices. If they're all set to auto, set it to no optimize. On your standby sleep optimization, no optimization, and network data, even though it doesn't use it, set it all to no optimize. Any of the other ones, app backup and restore, for example, that's turned on. It's auto, it's auto, it's auto. It's fine if it doesn't run in the background, so you just leave it that way. But Floating Toucher, same kind of thing, and I think that one shows up way down here in the list at the very bottom, just how they sort with these. There you go. Come in here, and again, it's turned off. No optimize, no optimize, no optimize. And what that does for you, all those different settings, is set it up so that when the always on screen display is available, it will pop right up there. And even if you've turned the screen off, which we just did, it won't turn the app off. While as other non-optimized apps have been shut off in the background. By the way, here's a little interesting thing. When it's in this always on AMOLED mode, the button doesn't work to activate it. You have to double tap the screen. It's going to save your button over time when you get into it this way. And of course, if you twist your wrist to see the time capability on, it will play back and forth with that always on mode as well. So we've optimized everything necessary in our overall apps. Just to point out a few other things in notifications, you got the Smart Island capability. You can change the look of it. I haven't really played with that. Don't go too much deeper with that, so just be aware that it's there. Your network and internet, you can hotspot with your watch. Of course, it's going to get hot and it's going to use up battery, but if you got your SIM card in it, you can turn that on. You can run a VPN on this. I mean, everything, just like you would with a standard phone. Floating window, we mentioned, is where you get a little dot that shows up over on the side over here. And there it is. Now I got my floating toucher. If you'd rather use that instead, you can do that. When you tap it, you'll get a list of different things here that you can do. I can tap that one and get my overall brightness control to pop up on the screen that way. Or any of the other configurations if you want. There's the volume control. We were doing that by swiping down and scrolling over, but if you want a faster access to it, you have that with all of these different things. And then I can tap that button to turn it off up here. It's conflicting with my other one, but anyway, there we go. That's the floating window. And audio profiles, I think we showed you this before. You can change all of these things. General, vibration, outdoor, if you want everything full volume. It's a default profile that you can set for it. There we go. And device security, software upgrade. Remember the acceleration mode. That's a really good key to setting things up properly. This eye protection mode, I should move that button out of the way for while we're doing this. It's right in the way. This will, like it says, it'll protect your eyes, believe it or not, and it causes the screen to dim down to moderate for the environment that you're in. Gives you some battery savings and, of course, helps you out overall that way. I don't use it because I like my screen a little bit brighter, but it's there for you as well. That's pretty much it for all of this. Schedule your power outages if you want to do that at night. Reboot the watch automatically. Disaster warnings. You can allow broadcasts when you have the SIM card in here. You've got to allow it access to all of your stuff so it can record onto your device, I guess. If you have any active alerts in your area, then they will broadcast. And of course, the switch we talked about for turning on and off the hourly detection for your overall heart rate. A little bit more? You still with me? All right. So Charlie's getting a little confused at this point. It all makes sense, the fun things these apps can do, but how do you get them onto the watch? Well, primarily, you use the Google Play Store. That's the easiest, fastest way. If the app's available, you just download it directly on the watch through either your cellular connection or Wi-Fi, and it'll install automatically. Otherwise, if you need to sideload it, you use some alternatives. And one of the ways I like to go, and I mentioned this earlier, is to use Google Drive. And I just put my material in Google Drive, and I launched the Google Drive app here, and I can do the installation directly. But if I want to actually move files, APKs, music, videos, between devices, like from the phone to the watch, I'm finding that using this thing called CX File Explorer is a lot easier. It has access to all your local stuff on the phone, for example, and I can go over here to Network, and whatever service I've got in the cloud, like Google Drive, I can simply tap on that, and I can move things into Google Drive. And then, again, launch it. It looks just like this on the watch. Open Google Drive. Either install the APK directly, which I'm going to show you in a moment, or copy it from the Google Drive into the watch, and you'll have it there as well. So recommendation is you may want to go and download CX File Explorer from the Google Play Store on both devices. That's what the thumbnail looks like. Now let's go deeper into the process itself on the watch. Charlie, can I have the watch? Thank you. Okay, from here now I'm going to launch into Organized Drawer, which is showing all of the apps in here in alphabetical order. That's one of the ones. There's the CX File Explorer, and there's the Google Drive. So I'm going to launch Google Drive just to show you for an APK installation how easy it is. Here I'm in here. I got to go down to the folder, which I've got Apps Core. And in here, I'm going to go into, let's see, how about various apps? I got these categorized for different uses at different times. And now in here, I wanted to go down to the S's because we talked about a particular app, and it's called Swipe. Where is it? Swipe Home Button. Is that readable? Not washed out? Okay, good. These are APKs. Now, I don't need to install it on the watch. I'm looking at it on the cloud. I can simply tap on it, and it will install the APK. Okay. Do you want to install this application? And I'll say yes, install. And it begins installing. And it's done. It's been installed. If I open it now directly from here, I can set all of these things up for it. And we'll go into more detail toward the very end about how the swipe up button works. But that just shows you a simple overall installation of an app that is functional, that can be installed directly. Now, I want to show you what happens when you get into a problem with an app that won't load because it's too old. I think Iamascope is one of those. Let's go in here and we'll attempt to install it. Try that again. There we go. It's got all of the things, and you say install and it won't do it. It says unsafe app blocked. Do this only if you're comfortable with it. Okay? Yeah. But I'm going to show you how. It's saying that it won't install. But down here, you got it. You can leave, or you can say more details. If I tap on more details, I get a button that says what? Install anyway. If I install anyway, now it will install. Then you can open it. It'll go through all of its information and close that, I think. And there, now we've got a geographically sensitive, what you call the accelerometer, right? Now, anytime we install something new, we also have to re-index it into the special Organized Drawer app. So we're going to come in here. We're going to go to Organized Drawer. And look at that. Everything is off the screen. We can't do anything. So we're going to have to come down, go over, turn this into, I think I can do it a 1-in-1. Let's try that. Come back. Yeah, now you see everything, including the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to tap that and hit refresh. I'm actually going to do that a couple of times. There we go. That time I hit it. And you saw it went through it, and it loaded things up. So now when I go down here, get under I, F, G, H, there's K, I. It's that blue one right there. Iamascope. And close, and now we're back into it. By the way, from that screen you can choose different layouts, and notice now it's all happening in a square within the circle, but the square overlaps just a bit. You remember now back when we talked about that and showed you how to set that up. That's the 1:1 as opposed to the 1:0. Finally then, I'm going to come back over here. Well, we're going to slide down and get back out of this, which makes our button a little bigger and everything else huge right there. Oh, that's cute. Look at that. It just lies right in the middle of it. Go back to Organized Drawer, and go down to the S's, which was right here, swipe home button. Let me show you what that looks like operational. So the way this works, you go into the app, you slide down here to binding, and this is where you have your swipe up, swipe far up, swipe up and then down, left, right. All of these settings are available for you through there. Now I've gone ahead and done that, and I've also set it up so it won't time out when the screen goes off or even when you reboot it. It should be there in the background. So all I got to do, hello little lizard, is swipe up to the left. I set this one up so it would be the I am a scope that we were playing with. If I swipe up to the right from the bottom, I can launch into Visualize, and this is the one that works with the audio control and bounces around with your volume. And you can make any of these other ones do anything you want to as well. And of course, you got Floating Toucher on top of all of that. Just wonderful work. What do you think? Pretty cool, huh? All right. What are we looking at? My goodness, this has been a long review. This is the VG54. It is a full Android smartwatch with a pull-out rotating camera built into it. It's a very, very nice implementation of Android 8.1 as far as it goes. Fairly stable, and as you can see, we can work around a lot of the different things and install some incredible apps to make it happen. And happen really well. Now you can also pick this up directly from AliExpress. They've got it available in their VALDUS official store in two different configurations, the 2 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, same as what they have in their own store is available. It's only in black in terms of color, but for a few dollars more, about $70 versus $75, around $5 more, I highly recommend you upgrade to the 3 gigabyte RAM with 32 gigabyte storage in here. There's something special when you go to 3 gigabytes of RAM operating memory, you know, for the use of the thing that just makes it so much smoother and less prone to crashes. So for $5, I would go at that price level to the higher configuration. And of course, check the show notes for discount coupons. We often have those to include if you use the links we provide for you, either directly to the VALDUS store or to AliExpress. We really appreciate you being here, and I hope I've earned your subscription, both of us. Yeah, I got to go get some food, right? You're hungry. Please give us a like or 2 or 3, and we will see you again really soon. Got some fun stuff coming up, but that so much makes up for all of our Android watches. Again, the VG54 or the VG52 Pro, the round one we already reviewed. Look at those two together, but this one is the one that really goes deep in today's review. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you again soon. Bye. Okay, now that the review is over, I'm sure you're curious, I am as well, if whatever it is that's on the back of the watch is actually removable. So I got some serious Gorilla Tape here. I'm going to cut a piece of that. I'm going to take the watch. Now, check the back out. You see that coating that's on the back? Film? It looks like a film. It's got a cutout where the holes are. And little notches here and here, but it just doesn't seem to be stuck really well. So I'm going to use some tape. I'm going to find that one looks like it's almost off, the most of all. I'm going to put that tape on here really solid, and we're going to see if we can lift this film off of the back of the watch. Not yet. Nope, it doesn't look like it. All right, we're going to do the whole thing. Make it really good. I know, it's on and it's doing its stuff. I should probably have turned it off. Okay. Now, let's try lifting it from the edge really tight. Nope, it's not coming off. Well, we'll go to round 2. We grab a paper clip. And open this puppy up. Now, it looks like I could slide it underneath here, doesn't it? So I'm going to try that. There we go. We're underneath. Let's gently lift it. Aha! Look at that. Yep. It's only sealed right to the edge here. Now I should be able to lift it off. I have no idea why it's there. I really don't see it as waterproofing. Perhaps it's just protecting this from your arm. But it's removable. You can take the film off. Now we know. Looks a lot better that way, doesn't it? Here's another thing that annoys me a bit. It's this screen protector. It's a little plastic covering, not glass on this one. It's going to get scratched. I could tell that. And it's actually got some bubbles in it, if you see right there. So the glass is delicate underneath, especially around the edges. You don't want to pry that off too much. If you can catch an edge and lift it, it should be possible. There we go. To pull. Wow, that is really thin. That's almost just like a film. So feel free to take that thing off. And now look at that. We've got a nice clean glass surface. Yeah. Now it's really ready to go. Now, as you guys know, I don't like doing ads on this channel. I want to keep it moving, keep it going. We're going to do that, but I got to tell you about an invitation, which is kind of an ad. I'm part of the Amazon affiliate program. Anytime you buy a watch through my links, I get a little commission from that. Well, Amazon has just launched something called Amazon Haul. Here's a QR code that's tied in with my affiliate program. If you link through that through your phone, you can head over and pick up stuff for as cheap as $10 to $20. Everything there is really inexpensive. It's a beta launch they've just announced, and I'm one of the lucky affiliates that gets to try it out. So you guys get a chance to jump in and see how it works. I'm putting it on the screen if you want to read it, if you got the time. Otherwise, just consider clicking on the QR code and checking it out for yourself.